I am so excited to welcome you not only to Jacksonville, but to the launching of the podcast called The Covenant, more specifically, the Sistah Covenant. And yes, I did say sister. What is the covenant, the Sistah Covenant? It is a circle of friends, my friends for 20, 30, 40 plus years, your friends, all of our friends, coming together in a safe space at a time such as this. We as women of color, we are counted on to nurture our families, our children, our significant others, our spouses, our community, our corporate boardrooms, and everything in between. But who fills our cup? I think about flying, and when we get ready to take off, what is said to us first? Put your oxygen mask on first before you can assist others. And that exactly is what the Sistah Covenant is all about. A safe space to encourage, to listen, to cry a little, laugh a lot, but most important, to empower and to fill our cup. Great morning and welcome to the first anniversary month of the Sistah Covenant. I am super pumped. I am standing in the World Congress Center in Atlanta, Georgia for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority's 55th National Convention. Wow. This is simply amazing. I had to take the moment to give a shout out to my sorority. And in this moment, we are going to, as a part of our anniversary, we thought it would be just fitting to replay our inaugural podcast that has the national president as a part of it, Beverly E. Smith. But before we get to that, I just want to again thank you for all your love, support, and prayers for our first year of the Sistah Covenant. You still can be a part of the Sistah Covenant circle of friends with your merchandise. Please go to our website, the Sistah Covenant, and purchase your official merchandise. You see those beautiful, beautiful shirts, caps, and masks, and you too can have all of that. And as you know, every time you make a purchase of $100 or more, $10 will go directly to UNCF, because a mind certainly is a terrible thing to waste. And we at the Sistah Covenant want to be a part of being a resource for these students all around the country. We also invite you to be a part of our 25 challenge. For the last month, we have been behind vaccinations for our country and our community. At the Sistah Covenant, you too can be a part of this challenge. Post a picture or a video on why you got vaccinated using the hashtags Powerful Women Get Vaccinated. Hashtag Together We Win. Tag at the Sistah Covenant as well as 3 friends. At this time, I want to share a powerful PSA of some of my sorors who are powerful women who chose to get vaccinated.
I decided to get vaccinated because it is proven to lower the spread of the disease.
Vaccinations are exceedingly important.
I got vaccinated and my children got vaccinated to protect our families.
I got the COVID vaccine as soon as it was available to me.
I got vaccinated because I wanted to live.
I chose to get vaccinated to protect myself, my family, friends, and our great community.
It's important that we take care of each other, that we care about each other's health.
Powerful women care about their community.
Powerful women get vaccinated.
It is a scientific fact that the COVID-19 vaccine is effective.
Getting vaccinated is a matter of life and death.
I want to be safe. I want those around me to be safe.
I got vaccinated and my children got vaccinated to protect our families, our friends, our community.
And I want you to be safe as well.
Powerful women get vaccinated.
Together.
We will win.
Please
Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated.
Together.
Together,
We will win.
we win.
We win.
We win.
Wow. What powerful, powerful messages from a group of amazing women. Now, as I indicated, I thought it fitting in our anniversary month to share our inaugural podcast with you, as I had the opportunity just 1 year ago to sit down and talk with a very dear friend of mine, Donna Deegan, who at the time was running for Congress, but is now running for the mayor of Jacksonville, Florida. In addition, I am humbled to again bring to you 4 women that not only lead powerful organizations all across this country, but they impact communities all across the world. Beverly E. Smith, the national president and CEO of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, the national president of the Links Incorporated. Cornisha Brown, national president of Jack and Jill of America, and my shero, Janetta B. Cole, national president of NCMW. I share this conversation with you, and I ask that you again understand your power, and together we are stronger and we can do anything. Enjoy. Good morning. As my chapter president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated would say, great Sunday morning. Thank you so very much for being here. You didn't have to be, although we did get an extra hour this morning, so we're all thankful for that. But we thank you for being a part of our inaugural podcast for the Sistah Covenant. As the video clip indicated, this is a safe space for us to come together. A covenant among sisters, a bond, a contract, if you will, that we are our sister's keeper. I am over the moon excited about my guest this morning. So we're not going to talk a lot on the front end because we are in for a powerful, passion-filled experience with some phenomenal sisters. And first up, I want to introduce a dear friend of mine. And you may think it's odd because, she's not a woman of color, but she is a powerful, powerful woman, a phenomenal woman. And I think it important that this audience hear directly from her. That would be Donna Deegan. Donna is an award-winning journalist, philanthropist, marathon runner, and of course, a Jacksonville native. She anchored the First Coast News for over 25 years, and she is the founder of Donna Foundation, a nonprofit that provides financial assistance to support families living with breast cancer. Welcome, Donna.
Pat, good morning. Gosh, I'm so honored to be included as hopefully an honorary Sistah. I love this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Donna. And let's get to it. You are running for U.S. Congress, District 4, with all the accolades. And we could talk for a long time about what you've done over the history and over your journey. Why? Why are you running for Congress?
In a word, Pat, because I can. I feel that I've watched for so long the issues that I care deeply about, that I think so many women care deeply about, just being pushed to the side. And I am somebody who has always had no problem speaking truth to power. That's what I did as a journalist. I am somebody who has studied the issues for many years, especially given the fact that I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor. I have studied healthcare policy for a long time. And I would say probably the number one driver that brought me into this race was the need to focus back on our healthcare and on our public health system.
So, 2020, none of us saw this coming. We're in the middle of a pandemic, protests in the streets, and an unprecedented election. How do we get where we are, Donna? You've been a journalist for many years, and then how do you help us get on the other side of it?
Well, Pat, I don't think that any of us that have really been watching for a while should be very surprised that we are where we are right now. It's, again, one of the reasons that I'm in this race. I watched it happen as a journalist. I've been watching over the past 4 years what we have with this president and with this horrible COVID crisis that has only served to highlight racial inequities that we have in this country. I think all of it has been coming for a while. And so I think if I'm going to be positive about it, and obviously it's been a crazy, awful year in a lot of ways. And I think that it's very easy to see if you look at the statistics, how horribly women of color have been affected in this pandemic. But I think here's the good news. I think the good news is that it has opened the eyes of a lot of women who look like me. I really do. I think that people who perhaps had their eyes closed or willfully closed to structural racism, willfully closed to the needs for more equity in our criminal justice system, more equity in our housing, in the way that we lend, in the way that we, all the ways in which we treat each other. I think that this year has boldly underlined all those things in such a way that it's been impossible for people not to see. And so I think for the first time in many, many years, or maybe ever, I really think you have the majority of the country that is seeing these inequities and saying, you know what, this isn't who we want to be. And I think that is the good news that can come out of all this.
Donna, I want to piggyback on what you just said. I was reading a study just last night, McKinsey & Company, Women in the Workplace 2020. The article cited that this COVID-19 crisis is having a disruption, obviously, on our country, but corporate America in particular. And what struck me is it said 1 in every 4 women are considering downshifting their careers or leaving the workplace, especially Black women. Yeah. They face distinct challenges. How do you feel, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, our next president should deal with that type of epidemic proportions of numbers?
Well, if you look at the unemployment numbers in this crisis, Pat, Black women have suffered the highest unemployment of anybody in the country. It's almost 17% is the unemployment rate among Black women. And I think that, again, I think when you look at the presidential race, when you look at the people who are running, or you look at my race, I think you see very clearly who has a plan to address those issues of structural racism. I think it goes right back to that. You have to first acknowledge there's a problem. You have one candidate for president who acknowledges there's a problem, and you have another candidate for president who does not acknowledge there's a problem. And the same is true in my race. I had a debate a couple of weeks ago with my opponent. And he specifically said, I don't believe we have structural racism in this country. And he's a former sheriff. So it's really hard to imagine how anybody could look at the numbers that we see. I mean, all across the board. Let's look from healthcare to housing to the unemployment rate to criminal justice, you name it. You are talking about structural racism that is so clear in this country, and you only have one party, in my opinion, right now that is trying to deal with that in an effective way. And I think it starts with policies that recognize that this is an issue and go directly to that. I mean, you have to amend lending policies. You have to stop cutting the affordable housing budget. You have to put money into criminal justice reforms that make sense for people's lives. I mean, you have to provide healthcare and funding for public health, which has been dropping for 20 years. I mean, we've got an infant mortality rate in the Black community, especially, that is appalling, and that's only going to be dealt with if we fix some of these structurally racist policies that we have in our country. And I'm very hopeful that we are at a point where people are ready to do that, as long as we put the right people in power.
So that brings me to my last question for you, Donna. The Center for American Progress has cited that there is a growing force of women of color that affect the U.S. electorate. For the past 5 years, women of color, in particular Black women, have come to be known as a powerhouse. Why should women of color vote for Donna Deegan for Congress?
Well, I hope that I have shown through the policies that I've promoted that I am an ally. I mean, I really truly believe that we have to have people, that recognize that the problems exist in order to solve those problems. But beyond that, I am so very focused, Pat, and you know this, in my campaign on healthcare. And I think healthcare is fundamentally one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with in this country right now. And it disproportionately affects women of color in this country, the fact that we have abandoned affordable healthcare. I shouldn't say we've abandoned it. We must improve it. I think we had the Affordable Care Act, which was a great way to start. And unfortunately, this administration has tried to kill it death by 1,000 cuts over the last 4 years. And so we need somebody to put in a position of power that is willing to go in there and make some structural changes in the way we have healthcare. I'd like to add a robust public option that would actually give people an option to bring costs down and ask our pharmaceutical companies to negotiate drug prices. But it goes so far beyond that. Like I said, I think it comes with bringing new eyes to how we address old problems. And I think that I am in a great position to do that. I'm somebody that has been a part of this community for my family for 4 generations. And I feel like I know it and I love it. And hopefully you know my heart.
I know your heart, Donna, and I think the picture speaks 1,000 words. The diversity in that picture alone speaks volumes. You are an honorary sister of the Sistah Covenant. And I look to have you back as a congresswoman representing the District 4.
Well, let me just say, Pat, before we hop off, I just want to say congratulations to you. We have talked for a long time about what would be you couldn't decide what's going to be my next step into power, into my own power. And this is a great step. And I absolutely love it because you have a fantastic voice and you are absolutely amazing in your own right. So thank you for doing this to bring voice to so many people.
Thank you, Donna. All right, now we have a powerful panel that I would like to introduce to you at this time. When I thought about the Sistah Covenant and powerful women of color and purposed women with passion, these 4 women came to mind. So help me welcome Janetta B. Cole, National Council of Negro Women President. Dr. Cole, you are here with us. How are you? We're going to bring some more of your sisters in the room, okay? Next up, Dr. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, National President of the Links and the Links Foundation. Hello, Dr. Jeffries Leonard. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Next, want to add Cornisha McGill Brown, the 27th National President of Jack and Jill of America. Good morning.
Good morning.
And lastly, but of course not least, the National President and CEO, Beverly E. Smith of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Good morning. Good morning, National President Beverly. Y'all, these women are not only powerful and influential women of color. I submit to you that this powerhouse panel is a powerful panel of women, and they are all my national presidents, y'all. So they had to be on my inaugural podcast. Welcome, welcome, ladies. So I want to get started with our time together. If each of you, in the order in which you came out, would just tell us, your bios are extensive and they will live on our website. So everyone in the audience can go and read all about you. But if you could just take a couple of minutes and tell us a little bit about your organization and, more importantly, your journey to get where you sit today. Dr. Cole?
The top of the morning, it's a Sunday morning. And in that Black church that I grew up in my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida, one would say it's a great getting up morning. So thanks to you, our dear Sister Pat, for convening this sisterly circle. It is my honor, it is my joy to serve as the 7th president of the National Council of Negro Women and the chair of the board. It is an organization founded 85 years ago by the legendary Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, an organization of over 2 million Black women with a mission to educate, to advocate for, indeed to empower Black women, our families, and our communities. And then finally, I would just say, it is quite a joy to collaborate with my 3 sister presidents that you have assembled for this podcast. We know so well that whatever is the mission that each of these 4 organizations has, that mission will be advanced best when we collaborate.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. Dr. Jeffries Leonard.
Thank you so much. And my sister Pat, thank you so much for having me here on your inaugural podcast. I'm just thrilled to be here. And I too am also just always thrilled to be in the presence and sitting beside these sister presidents that you have on your show this morning. They are phenomenal, and the bond that we have is really, truly, probably unbreakable. So thank you for this. I am Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, the 17th National President of the Links Incorporated and the Links Foundation Incorporated. We were founded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, almost 75 years ago. And in fact, on the 9th of November, we'll be celebrating our 74th anniversary. And we were founded by 2 friends, Margaret Roselle Hawkins and Sarah Strickland Scott, who decided that they wanted to pull their friends together to address issues of culture and art in their communities and ensure that their communities had what they needed to be successful. We are an organization of over 16,000 women. We are in 288 chapters, 41 states, the District of Columbia, and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the United Kingdom. And we do our work to empower our communities in 4 program areas, which we call facets: the services to youth, the arts, national trends and services, international trends and services, and health and human services. And as my sister, Dr. Cole, said, we are so much more impactful and powerful when we work together to the common good.
Thank you. Thank you. National President Cornisha Brown.
Good morning, everyone. And I also want to say thank you, Pat, for bringing us together this morning. We definitely have a history together in terms of our work that we have done in Jack and Jill. And I just congratulate you on this just tremendous accomplishment of starting this effort. So I want to say good morning to my sister presidents. It's always a pleasure to be with each of you. I am the 27th National President of Jack and Jill, and it is no secret that I have been in this role a little bit over 60 days. So I want to say that my sister presidents have truly embraced me, and I want to thank them just for the sisterhood that they have definitely displayed as I begin my tenure as National President of Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill was founded in 1938 by Marion Stubb Thomas, along with 20 other mothers in Philadelphia, and with the mission of nurturing African American children. And that mission has not changed. We are about building leaders, and we know how important that is today. At this very moment, we know that it is critical that we stay focused on our mission, which is the power to make a difference for all children, on mission and on purpose. So as we are 252 chapters strong, over 10,000 members who represent 40,000 families across this nation, we are doing our part to make a difference. And we are so very grateful for this sisterhood so that we can add our collective voices to making a change in every way. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And last but not least, National President Beverly E. Smith.
Good morning, Pat. How are you? And good morning to my sisters and we do see each other often these days. This collaboration has been wonderful. Thank you, Pat, for allowing me to join you this morning. I should say so are Sams. And we do have a connection I didn't even realize we have. I've got several family members who live in Jacksonville, been there several times. Joan Spalding, a good, strong AKA and former AKA of the year. Oh my goodness, who's with, but that's all my aunts are AKAs, but Dr. Nelson and Joan Spalding are family. And I knew you grew up with my cousins. So we found that out not too long ago, which is really good to hear. It's good to be here this morning. I am Beverly Smith, the National President and CEO for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Delta has about 300, we have initiated about 354,000 women into our sisterhood. Early yesterday morning as well, we chartered our chapter number 1058, the Arabian Gulf chapter in Dubai, which was exciting. We did it virtually yesterday morning, but we have a large number of chapters, obviously, that we have all over the world. Very excited. Our mission is one of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action. We have focused on social action since our founding in 1913. We're the first women's organization, Black women's organization sorority to march with the suffragist movements in the Suffragette March of March 1913. And have worked in that area of social action as well in the arts and other areas for years, 107 years since then. Very excited about this time that we're in. Even though it's a very difficult time, it's a time of opportunity for all of us to come together. I think it strengthened the relationship that we have as organizations. We represent, between those of us here and a few others, about 5 million women across this country. And we have been able to take that circle of influence and broaden it and intend to continue broadening it. But it's good to be here this morning. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you all. So let's dive in. You just said it, 5 million women. That's what all the organizations collaboratively have a membership of. Let's talk a moment. We're in 2020. a time such as this, no one would have predicted where we would be in the middle of a pandemic globally, protest in the streets, and an unprecedented election. And you 4 women, along with 9 others, have come up with a little group of women called Sisters United for Reform. Why now? And what are you positioned to do by virtue of that organization? Anybody take that question?
Dr. Cole?
Nicole, were you speaking?
No, I just nominated Kim to give a quick, not history, but story of our founding and our mission.
Thank you, Dr. Cole, for that nomination. It really came about, Sister Pat, when we all watched the murder of George Floyd on television. So we've all known each other as friends and as sisters and as organizations. But when we saw this egregious act, it was time to do something. So we all started calling each other, and our sister president, Glenda Glover, said we need to convene. And we convened as 13 organizations that represented not only Black women, but the interests of Black women and our communities. And so we came together to discuss what our platform would need to be, because we wanted to speak as a collective voice against the police brutality that we not only saw on television, but we have been living for so many years. This erupted. I mean, this is not new to our communities. This was the catalyst. And so we came together as 13 organizations, and not only around social justice reform around the police issue, but there were other things that we wanted to make sure that we addressed. We wanted to address voting and voting rights, and ensuring that our rights were we were watching voting rights being suppressed, and we were watching policies come into play. So we put together a platform that included social justice and police reform, voting rights, mental health issues, domestic violence, all of those things that were impacting our communities of African descent. We put together a statement, a collective statement, because what we wanted the world to see is that Black women are a powerhouse, and we have a voice, and you need to hear our voice. So we moved in that direction with a press conference, a statement. We've been together ever since. And then some of the things that we started seeing started coming up, and we became more focused on voting, getting out the vote, and how our votes impacted all of these issues that were so important to us, and the reason why we came together in the beginning.
You know, I'm just sitting here thinking about something that happened that really just moved us to take a particular action. In fact, I'm thinking about the feeling that we had that was so much like what was going on in South Africa years and years and years ago, when a large group of Black women, Black South African women, came together, and they used this expression: when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. And you, was the implication, will pay the consequences. And what happened, as we all know, is that Black women were being described, talked about as candidates for the vice presidential ticket of a major party. Mm-hmm. And the misogyny, the sexism was, the only word I can say is, it was disgusting. Mm-hmm. And so we The 13 of us said, when you strike one of us, you strike a rock. Mm-hmm. And so only what I got, national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, she took the lead. No, she didn't take the lead. She wrote the letter and we edited it. How's that? A very important letter, a sisterly letter, a love letter to Senator Kamala Harris. So maybe, my national president, you want to talk a little bit about that letter?
Sure. What do you think, Dr. Cole? You can see who's leading this conversation. Kim, she's telling us what to do, but that's
right.
There's nobody I'd rather have do that than our Dr. Janetta Cole, who is truly beloved among us, and I have to thank her for that. You know, we talked about this in the session, and when you see the way that some people went ahead and depicted Black women as they typically do, and started to demean us. And she's absolutely right. We really felt it was time to come together to write an open letter to Senator Harris to not only speak to her to give her encouragement, but we realized at the same time what we needed to do was to put something out that would encourage all Black women as a reminder of who we are. And so the intent of that letter was not only say, we got your back, which is what we did, but to put in that letter the history of Black women and what we have done and who we are, as a reminder of the strength we have and we've always had from the very beginning in terms of Sojourner Truth. I mean, when you even think about the history of what Black women did, that first white man would not have gotten to the moon had it not been for a Black woman. The movement started with what Rosa Parks did in saying, I just can't take it anymore. Fannie Lou Hamer with I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you look at our history, even though we may have not been in the forefront, we were there making sure that those were undergirded who needed to be undergirded. At the same time, we went about doing what we did. We needed a letter that reminded Senator Harris and reminded Black women of who we were, the mother of civilization. We know that first woman came from the African continent, and also one that would then reinforce and tell her, don't let these things get in your way. Understand the fortitude, remember who you are and the stock and the DNA from which you come as we move forward. So that was the intent and the purpose of the letter. It has been very well received, and so we're very pleased that it not only struck a chord with her, but struck a chord with Black women. And to be honest, from what I've heard, women in general, in terms of a reminder of who we are and what we are as we move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you want to add anything with that, National President Courtney?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The letter was beautifully written. And of course, I love the aspect of the advice that was given. And I do agree that it was written to our very own, Kamala, but at the same time, we know that that can apply to every woman, and especially African-American women, whatever they are going through. So I know that it will be one that will live on, not just for this moment, but for many other moments to come as we find ourselves in this situation for the fight on justice and equality.
Thank you.
So when I read the letter, I was in a car traveling to DC actually for an initiation ceremony, Dr. Smith. And I shouted. I said, "This is the podcast. This is it right here." I think I told you that, National President, when I, talk with you. So where do we go from here? What's the charge? What are you saying to your individual members? What are you saying to those 5 million women? And I submit, what are we saying to all women? We have an opportunity here to right some ship, if you will. We have an opportunity to hopefully bring our country together. And I'll just go ahead and put myself out there. I am the mother of 2 college-age young men, 20 and 22, one attending Hampton University, the other at Florida State University in Tallahassee. And I am talking to myself on a regular basis to not go get them, put them in my car, bring them to Jacksonville, put them in a closet, and tell them they cannot come out for the next 2 years. So what do we do as women of color with the influence that we have through these collaborations, because we are stronger together, but on the ground to right this ship and to move forward?
I think at this time, what we need to do is to ensure that everyone who is eligible to vote votes, because all of these things that we're discussing are on the ballot. I have 2 sons, but this is not specific to males. I mean, Breonna Taylor, look, we still don't have justice for Breonna Taylor. And that's an egregious, I'm going to use Dr. Cole's word, it's disgusting that we're here. And so all of the things that we fear, all of the things that we hold dear, our democracy is at stake. And so from today until November 3rd, our message now is ensure that everyone you know who is eligible to vote votes. I think that has to be the focus from now until Tuesday. Where we go from there depends on what happens after Tuesday.
You know, it's not by accident that when each of us got dressed, we found a pen. Mine happens to be a National Council of Negro Women pen that says, vote. And while it may seem trite to say it because it's being said so often, there is truth in it. We simply have to vote as if our lives depend on it, because they do. Certainly never in my lifetime, and I've got more years on earth than anybody on this or in this sisterly circle, there has not been a moment when we as Black women, when we as a Black community had to vote. You know, and when we think about the amount of time left, I'm sure some folk are saying, yeah, but you know, it's Tuesday and I didn't do it, and you know, maybe next time. No, there is plenty of time. And I am so aware that my 3 sister presidents in their organizations, and we as 13 presidents, we've been obsessed with this. I mean, literally obsessed with getting out the vote. And so for anybody who's just still saying, you know, all right, but, you know, maybe next time, there may not be another time when we can change course in our country. We talked about this moment, this reckoning, this awakening. This moment isn't going to come again. There will be other moments, but not like this one. And so the moment we're in says, do it. Where we have come from says, do it. Our women, as well, of course, as our men and our children, were literally tormented, killed, lynched because they tried to vote. If you don't care about yourself, in their memory, vote. And then finally, for all of those young'uns in the Jack and Jill organization, and the millions in addition, for their future, how dare we not vote?
I have to wholeheartedly agree with that. That is so eloquent. You can't even touch it. But it is so absolutely true, Dr. Cole. You know, as you and Kimberly both spoke, the word that comes to mind for me is empowerment. We have to be all about empowering our communities. Now we're going to vote, and we hope everybody votes. It is an empowerment. So in your communities during this time and after this time, we have to make sure we all feel comfortable and strong and empowered. My greatest hope is that we are so successful that people will understand their individual power in terms of what they're doing. And I, as the former Jack and Jill mom a long time ago, I thought about when you were talking, Dr. Cole, my daughter, when her two little boys, she has three, but the two that are boys, when they were little, I was up visiting and they're going out the door to school. Dad's taking them and she raises her arm and goes, "I'm Black." And I said to myself, "Oh, okay." And the little boys raised their hand back and said, "And proud." And they would do it again. She had them do that 3 times. "I'm Black." And they just go back, "I'm proud." I said, "What is going on?" She said, "Look, I got 2 Black little boys out there that go out of here every day at school. I want them to understand and know who they are. I want them to be proud of it." Now, mind you, the poor things were only like 3 and 5, but she instilled that from day one. And now she has little Angela Davis in her house who came home the other day and said, "All they're teaching in school is about slavery. We did more than that, right? Why don't they just stay that?" And she's 7, the little one. She said, "Well, you know, they're trying to hide your heritage. Why is that?" She said, because I'm strong." It said, "Yes. So don't let that happen." We have to empower our communities, empower our children, and she is a Jack and Jill mom, Cornisha, to make sure that they get the message and we get the message. And anything we can do to make sure that this movement that we're doing not only gets people to vote, but to understand how empowered they are and that they have to be proud every day is a part of what we're about.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sister Beverly. I mean, and thank you, Dr. Cole and as well. And I have to just insert that, Dr. Cole was my president at Spelman. And every morning we had convocation, it was the greeting, "My Spelman sister." So early on, it's all about being intentional. We are intentionally declaring that we are sisters in this movement together, and every organization has its role to play. And I just want to speak on behalf of Jack and Jill to hear you say that, Sister Beverly, about your grandchildren. Well, the children shall lead, and we are seeing that right in Jack and Jill in every way. When in horror we watched, with George Floyd and with Ahmaud Arbery, our children were, the pandemic had started. They were in front of the TVs and the computers, so they saw this with their very own eyes. And so from there, they knew it wasn't just about what mothers had been telling them. They were able to see just how horrific this really was, and they began to lead the marches. They began to lead the protests. In so many ways, the mothers were like, okay, now how do we, get ourselves together to support them, because they were already ahead. And that's what this is about. It's about empowering each other, empowering our children. No matter what happens on Tuesday, that we are still going to continue with policy reform. We have to start on the local level. We just don't stop with this particular election. We keep moving even beyond that so that we can make a greater impact in our communities. So I just want to thank you all. Of course, I'm also Sister Link. I've been connected with Sister Kimberly for a long time too. And so this has just been a beautiful, beautiful collection of all of us coming together in a powerful way.
I think the beauty and the power of this collaboration is that not only are we're all interconnected in some way, not only just by the fact that we're women and we lead these organizations of such amazing, powerful women, 5 million strong, but we each are interconnected because most of our members are members of all of the organizations that you see here, or the organizations or support the organizations that are part of this collaborative. And as my sister said, and I don't know who can follow Dr. Cole and Sister Beverly and Cornisha, but we will move beyond this. And even whatever happens on Tuesday, as Sister Cornisha said, there's still work to be done. We can't stop on Tuesday. What we know is whatever happens on Tuesday, our approaches may have to be different, because it's not going to change that we still don't have justice for Breonna Taylor. It's not going to change overnight that police are still brutalizing. I'm from North Carolina, and I just saw in Graham where they were peacefully protesting and they were pepper sprayed for walking down the street. This is my Alamance County, my father's home county. And so these things are not going to change overnight. What we know is that whomever sits in that seat on Tuesday, there's going to be something that we're going to have to do, because the issues will still be there. And we, as this collective of Black women, we've already made a statement when we came together about the things we needed to see happen. And those things need to be advanced. So we will be here, 5 million strong, showing the world that Black women are a powerful force, and we work together really well, and we love each other, and we have each other's back. And I think that we just keep moving forward.
That's right.
So we could talk on and on and on. I already gave them a heads up, y'all, that this is the inaugural podcast, but we know that they'll be back with us. But I want to just ask one final question to you all. We nurture everybody. We nurture the world, and we have for hundreds and hundreds of years. But who fills our cup? So as we think about the next 2 days, and we think about Tuesday, and we think about beyond Tuesday, and all that brings for us as women of color, who fills your cup? What are you doing to make sure you're whole and healthy at this time, for a time such as this?
You see how quiet we are. I think we're all kind of focused on that nurturing part for others more right now than we are for ourselves. And although we have a big movement in Delta called Delta Care, because we do not take care of ourselves as we should. I think we're all kind of zoomed out and worn out, but we have several days to go. The energy I have really does come from the sorority, my sister presidents. We kind of lift each other up and try to joke every now and then to make the moment a little bit lighter. Obviously, I get a lot from my children and grandchildren in terms of support. They call all the time and say, "You're taking care of yourself. Don't even answer that because you're going to be lying." So, it's out there. But I think the energy that at least I have right now, and comes from what we have to do, and the movement we're in, and the people who support us, and the support we have for each other. And sleep will eventually come. I know that is coming. I'm not going to say, and zooming all day long is never healthy. Let me tell your audience that. It causes spread where you don't want it because you're sitting all the time. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
I agree with Sister Beverly. The energy does come from, I'm so honored to be the national president of the Links Incorporated. And it is, and the energy comes from our Link sisters. If you look all over social media, you will see our links are moving. Our 16,000 members are so focused on making sure that every member, every eligible voter can vote. I mean, they are doing some amazing get out the vote activities, and that is so energizing. And they're just energizing. And as Sister Beverly said, we energize each other. I so appreciate the calls. What are you doing for you? I appreciate Dr. Cole, really trying to keep us focused on that self-care, and Susan Taylor, who really tries to keep us focused. And of course, as Sister Beverly said, family, they understand this important time, and they understand that this is critical. So that is supportive too. So our organizations, each other, family, and as Sister Beverly said, try not to Zoom too much. So trying to at least get up every 30 minutes and stretch.
Right. Yeah. Now, I would just like to agree with everyone else. And I know, Dr. Cole, we're going to let you close it out because I know you have something very profound to say as well that will wrap this up for us. But I ditto everything that has been said. And between our organizations, the sister moms, the sister presidents, and for me, my family, of course, and also the children. It's my passion. It's what motivates me. That's why I ran for this position, why I'm here. And I know that once we keep them at the forefront, then we will have the energy to keep doing what we need to do. So that is what fills my cup as well.
Well, I can't claim that my cup runneth over because this has been a very demanding period. And yet there's something I can say for myself, and I know each of the sisters in this circle. And of course, that is a circle that you convened and that you are in, Sister Pat. Each of us is a woman of faith. And these are times when if you don't have a faith to call on, I don't know how you get through it. I just don't. And there are mornings and evenings and sometimes during the day when I'm remembering those folk in Jacksonville, Florida, who grew me up and taught me how to pray. I am so grateful. But you know, our faith tells us that the good Lord insists that the good Lord will do for us, but there is much we must do for ourselves. And so each of our organizations focuses on self-care. At least we talk a good game. Give it to ourselves. We talk a good game about exercise and the role of that in keeping us ready for the struggle. We talk about the importance of eating right, even though eating right doesn't include that stuff that just tastes so good.
Amen.
And we are now even saying, sisters, especially sister leaders, you got to go to bed the same day that you wake up. So now the question is how to put all of that into practice. I would then just add quickly that NCNW is beginning to think about the importance of adding to our faith, to all of these things we know we're supposed to do to fill the cup, mindfulness and meditation. I can say that my own practice of mindfulness and meditation is deepening because this struggle is intensifying. And then finally, I just really have to say that my Spelman sister can probably testify even more strongly than any of the rest of us, because she knows what it is when a group of women at a key moment in their lives come together and pledge, we're in this together and forever.
Amen.
Absolutely. It is the same pledge, of course, that our sororities make and that I made as a Delta. It is that friendship and service that I made as a pledge with the links. And so, Sister Pat, we're going to do the best we can to take care of ourselves. And that's the promise.
Well, we couldn't say it any more eloquently than you have, Dr. Cole. But what I want to just add to it is We are one another's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. And that's what came out clear. And the reason I felt so compelled, as you all know, to do this podcast, and especially to do it before November 3rd, is because some women don't have the circle that we have here today. And there are women out there that need this bond. So as our sister's keeper, now we're all connected. We're all a part of the circle of conversation that you all bring to this powerful platform. But we all are powerful, and every woman needs to see the power that is so beautifully displayed here this morning. And I thank each and every one of you. I thank you so much for bringing your wisdom to us.
Thank you.
Have a blessed rest of your day. Bye. Oh my God. I just feel so blessed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So now I want to introduce two more powerful women, and we won't hold you long because I know it's time for church for some of us. I had the blessed opportunity to meet two phenomenal women that will be on this journey regularly with me. The first is Tanya James Grace. Tanya will serve as our spiritual and wellness contributor for the Sistah Covenant. And I want to also bring to the room Dr. Anita Petway Tyler. And Anita will serve as our medical contributor. Hey, y'all.
Hello. Morning. That was so awesome.
It's amazing. Awesome, wasn't it?
Amazing.
It was simply amazing. So, y'all, I'm not going to read your bio, but Tanya, tell us about yourself. Who is Tanya Grace? Yeah, I know you're beautiful, but other than that, who are you?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have been on a life journey, but to just sum it up in the essence of time, the journey of my personal and professional career has led me to embark on a new journey. I've been a wellness coach for 20 years. 2020 makes the 20th year I have served as a wellness coach. But I recently completed my Master's of Divinity degree and went to seminary, and I am now serving as the chaplain, one of the chaplains at Mayo Clinic Hospital, which is a renowned medical institution. So I'm serving in that capacity. So I bring my wellness practice into my spiritual care practice.
Thank you. Dr. Anita.
Hey there, Pat. Super blessed to be a part of this. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. Just to be quick as well, I am a primary care physician. I'm board certified in internal medicine, been in private practice for nearly 25 years. I mean, I look like it. Thank God for the good genes we have as Black women. I absolutely value relationships and sisterhood. It's always a precious jewel. And I just wanted to quickly say, which I thought was really cool, the panelists were amazing. And we talked a little bit about self-care, but I just want to remind us all that the fact that we talked about some of the things that trouble us in our community helps lower our blood pressure, helps lower our pulse, increases our immune system. So we are doing some self-care by having this sister circle. So you are amazing as well, Pat, and I'm grateful to be on the journey with you.
Thank you, ladies. So what we are creating here is a platform for women, specifically women of color. So Tanya, how did you see that going? When I called you and we met over at Mayo, and I kind of just came in your office as a hurricane.
Very true. No.
What did you get from that, and where do you see this going from your lens?
Well, just to reiterate what Dr. Anita has shared, this has been a beautiful moment, a beautiful morning. But spiritually, one of the things that I see as important is, and the Bible talks about this, is the power of agreement. It's so beautiful when we can come together. And that is the theme that was reiterated this morning with those powerful sisters on the call. They talked about collaboration, collective voices, and how much of an opportunity that we have before us in this movement. So the power of agreement is so important. We are living through global and racially challenging times, and it is vital that we as women utilize our support systems. We can no longer rely on self and isolate ourselves and depend on ourselves to make it through. But I see our sister circle as a opportunity for love, friendship, and unity, that we as women of color across the diaspora, we need to cultivate that.
Anita, what are you seeing from your lens for this Sistah Covenant?
So I ditto what Tanya said. Absolutely agree. That coming together in agreement is the first step, that collaborative effort. Just sharing. I mean, I think it's so important as women who are, I like what was said earlier with your panelists, being intentional with sharing and having a safe place to say and discuss what your concerns are. I mean, it just helps you to continue to make it through life. I mean, it's not so easy all the time. And I think taking that mask off and saying, you know what, I'm tired. You know, I need to get some rest and I can't do one more thing. And then having a sister tell you, oh, but yes, you can. I mean, so I believe that, and I applaud you. God bless you. I think it's needed. I think we all are at a place in our lives where it's like, whoo, hallelujah, Jesus. We want a safe space where we can chat, talk, embrace one another, encourage one another, remember one another, because a lot of us feel alone, especially during the pandemic, you know, so love on each other unconditionally. So I just don't have anything to say, but simply amazing.
Yeah.
The time is growing short, ladies, and the blessing is the next podcast will air November 15th, and we will have more time together because it's the Sistah Circle after the podcast. So we're asking our audience to go to our website, thesistahcovenant.com. Subscribe by giving us your email address. Join our Facebook page at the Sistah Covenant so you can be a member of our Sistah Circle, because that's where you'll hear more information from Dr. Anita and Tanya Grace, specifically around wellness, spiritual growth in your journey, as well as medical information and where you can go to get information. Our website will serve to be a resource for all of that. Ladies, you all are amazing in your own right, and we're going to close out this morning, but you see a screen that tells our audience where to go for future podcasts, as well as this one will live on Facebook. So if you have a friend that didn't join us this morning, they got the times a little confused, steer them to our Facebook page at thesistahcovenant.com. And then this will also be downloaded on podcast platforms so you can listen to it on audio moving forward. This platform is for the legends and the youngins. And one of our national presidents said that this platform is for the legends and the youngins. And I want to just, in honor of my daughter, Lauren, thank her for being my daughter. And I want to thank my mom, who's with me right now. The purple flower is for her. So I say to all of my sisters watching and my two here in the room with me right now, continue to be one another's keeper at a time such as this, because too much is given, much is required. Be bold, be brave, be brilliant and beautiful, and be blessed. Have a good day.